Good evening, YouTube. Tonight on Bucks Baseball Podcast, we are doing the Anaheim Angels. Will this potentially be a landing spot for Nolan Arenado? Who knows at this point? Nolan Arenado could end up here. He could end up a Yankee. He could just stay in St. Louis. Nobody seems to know. I don't know. But anyways, this is one of the teams that was on his list that he would take a trade to. Are they a location now that Rendon's hurt? What are my three favorite Angel players of all time? What are my hot takes for this year's team? And what is one player that you should be investing in MLB the Show 25 right off the jump who plays for the Angels? All this and more in this episode of Bucks Baseball Podcast.
Hey, take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd.
All right, so the Angels are a very interesting team. Very, very interesting team. I think they're a little better than some people might think they are. I think they have a chance to push for second place in the division, maybe even first if a lot of things go right and they make a couple more moves, but they got a solid rotation. They have a decent bullpen, and let's just take a look at their pitching staff. They signed Kikuchi, is the front of their rotation. They have Jose Soriano, Tyler Anderson, who was pretty decent last year, Kyle Hendricks, who they brought over from the Cubs. Thank God the Cardinals don't have to see him anymore. And Reed Detmers listed as their fifth starter, although he can be a top of the rotation arm. So it's a very intriguing, very interesting rotation. It doesn't have a lot of depth right now, but it is a very solid five starters. It could be worse. And then in the pen, they just brought in Kenley Jansen to close games. They have Ben Joyce, who throws like 175,000 miles per hour. Brock Burke, Ryan Jefferson, Jose Chiata, Hans Kraus, Jose Suarez, and Garrett McDaniels. And I'm just going to be totally honest with you. Some of these names I have zero idea about. I had to do some research. Ben Joyce, Kenley Jansen, definitely household names. Brock Burke is getting there. The rest of these guys, unless you follow the team, you don't really know, And there's a good reason for that, because a lot of these guys just aren't very good. And Fangraphs shows that their numbers, the best of the rest of this group is .3 WAR, and that's for Suarez and Chiata. So to say they need some more depth in the bullpen would be a massive understatement. But overall, the pitching is middle of the pack, but good enough to keep them in ball games. Now on offense, Taylor Ward, they have him leading off. Luis Renifo, Mike Trout, Jose Soler, Nolan Shaniel, Logan O'Hoppe, Yohan Moncada, who they brought in, Joe Adell, who they're still waiting to take off, and they brought in Tim Anderson, a non-roster invitee. He's going to snag that shortstop spot. They also signed Travis d'Arnaud. I find it very interesting that Travis d'Arnaud would come off the bench. I know O'Hoppe is their starter, but d'Arnaud's got to get some at-bats somewhere, you would think. J.D. Davis, another one, non-roster invitee, but has potential to be great off the bench. Kevin Newman and Mickey Moniak. Now, Mickey Moniak is another interesting name. They got him from Philly. He was, a decent prospect, has a chance to maybe play some. But overall, Fangraphs likes this offense quite a bit. Obviously, Mike Trout staying healthy would be huge. Nolan at first base, I like him a lot. Now, where I said that Nolan Arenado would make sense is they did bring in Moncada, but Moncada can be moved to a different position. I don't think that would specifically keep them from bringing in Nolan Arenado, but he could definitely help this lineup. I like this lineup. I think they got depth off the bench. Another name you have to remember for this team is Zach Neto. Now, he is going to start on the injured list. He had shoulder surgery in November, but he has he'll be back this year, and that is a big offensive piece to get back. They also have Rendon. They don't have Rendon. Rendon has no interest in playing baseball. He got his money. Hopefully they can get some of that money insured. He just has zero interest in playing baseball. His quotes are terrible. I wish they could just void that contract and kick him from the game, period, because he's just a waste of space. All right, now if we take a look at their top prospects, it's not great. They have no tier 1 prospects. Tier 2, they have Nolan at first base, who I really like a lot. They also have Nelson Rada. He's only at single A, though, 18 years old. Then it jumps down to Caden Dana, 20 at high A, Kyron Paris, 22. He's played a little bit in the MLB. Ben Joyce, 23. He's in the bigs. Alberto Rios, single A. Denzer Guzman, single A. These are all 19-year-old kids. Like, they don't have anything outside of the kids that are already on the big league team. So there's really nothing to talk about here. Their farm system is just not that great. So now this is the part where we do the bold predictions. For the pitching staff, this is tough. I'm going to say bold prediction, Reed Detmers is the leader of this staff by the All-Star break. I mean, I don't know if that's terribly bold. Kikuchi was just okay last year. I don't know. I think all their starters are kind of similar. Like, there's no true ace of the staff, but I think Reed Detmers is going to take that bull by the horns and be their best starting pitcher this season. Now, as far as offense goes, bold prediction, I'm going to say that Mike Trout finally stays healthy, plays a full season, and finishes top 3 in MVP voting. Mike Trout. He's going to do it. He's going to stay healthy this year. He's going to be top 3. He's going to put up a 5+ WAR season finally, and we're going to get a full season of Mike Trout. Now, if the Angels aren't very good come the All-Star break and Trout's healthy, will this be the time they finally decide to trade him and replenish that broken down farm system they have? I don't think so. I just can't ever foresee him doing it. But I think Mike Trout is going to be that player this year, that dude. And overall for the team this year, I'm going to say that they finish second place in the AL West and that they push the Houston Astros for first place. I feel like Seattle just hasn't done enough. Seattle's pitching's really good. Their offense is just not all that great. We'll get into the Mariners later on another video, but I just feel like this Angels team will push and stay and finish second in the AL West this season. My 3 favorite all-time Angels players. Number 1, Reggie Jackson. Yes, I know he's mostly known as being a Yankee, but Reggie in the Angels uniform is just iconic. I loved Reggie, Mr. October, and he had some pretty decent years for the Angels, and he would be number 3 on my list of favorite all-time Angels players. Number 2 would be Mike Trout, still playing, still an all-time player. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's just great. Health has been an issue for him. If we could just get more healthy years from him, he's going to put up some tremendous numbers to finish up his career. Number 1. This is tough, right? Because the Angels have had, not a lot of success the last 20 years. They haven't been amazing, but growing up, there was one player that they had that I really enjoyed watching play, and that's because he was unique, and that was Jim Abbott. Jim only had one arm. If you don't know who Jim Abbott is, Google him, look him up. I would love to get him in MLB The Show. I think it would be very interesting to see how that would play out in MLB The Show. He was a decent pitcher, right? He was pretty good. The fact that he only had one arm and he could field his position was actually insane. If you don't know who Jim Abbott is, take some time, Google him, look him up, look up some highlights. You won't be disappointed. And lastly, and this is going to be something I'm going to be adding to videos going forward. It was an idea from MLB The Show Card Art, who does a lot of my thumbnails and things like that. It was his idea, and that is we're going to give you one player for the team that I am reviewing to invest in early and often in MLB The Show 25. And for me, I'm going to go with Nolan Schanuel, their first baseman. He is only 22 years old. He was drafted in 2023, so his first season last year was pretty much right out of the draft. I mean, and he had a decent year, but I think this year he's going to take a step forward. He's got a year under his belt, 20 to 25 homers, 2.5 WAR plus, and I think he'll probably start off as a bronze at most. So, it'd be a good card to flip, especially if he does get off to a good start and he does get to, some sort of silver. You can definitely make some stubs on him. A lot of these other guys, like Joe Adell, could be interesting because he's a common or a bronze. I can't recall where they finished him at. He could be another interesting choice if he finally decides to be the player that everybody thought he was going to be. But I'm going to go with Nolan Schanuel as my number 1 investment for the Angels in MLB The Show 25. All right, so that is today's video here on Bucks Baseball Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below who your favorite all-time Angels were, what your expectations are for the team this year, and if there was anything that I might have missed about the Angels this season. If you enjoyed it, please leave a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. All of my socials are in the description of the video below. Make sure to follow all those. Come check me out on Twitch. Same name, Big Old Buck on Twitch. You can come over and check us out. We play MLB. We're going to be playing some PGA, and we play Marvel Snap. We have a good community and a lot of fun. Until next time, you can catch me right here. Same Buck time, same Buck channel.